Hi, this is Tom Painter again, and thank you so much for joining us. And as you know, I'm the founder of the successandmoneyfoundation.org with my wife, LaDawn. And this is the Earn Why You Learn program. And we want to talk about the 25 rules of thumb for starting a business. Now, this was things that was compiled by a good friend of mine that started this many, many years ago, Mr. Steve Gibson, and it's called Academy for Creative Enterprise. And they have 735 chapters all over the world that work with people who need help. Um, and it's a nonprofit foundation that they have. And the goal is to teach people how to improve their small business, start a small business, or really take the fundamentals of what they know and make more money at their business or their job. And so I want to go through these because these are great pieces that you need to have in your world. And if you're not making enough money at your job, you need to look at these 25 things and say, well, I could do that better. Or I could do this better. Or I could do this, or I could do something else. And so I'm just going to go through them with you quite quickly, but I want to thank Ace. And you can go to YouTube, youtube.com, and you can search Ace 25 Rules of Thumb, and they have videos on each of those that you can go through, and they're pretty awesome. So I want to go through these with you. And again, we've already talked about the loan versus own piece that's out there. Now I'm going to shift gears on our page to the 25 Rules of Thumb for starting and running a business. Okay. Now, number one is to start small but think big. It's all about adding zeros. Find a system that somebody else is using and see if you can copy that system. Now, you're not going to say add the same product, but when I go into McDonald's, I always say, how did they do that? How did they get the product from here to there? How did they physically get it cooked? How did they get it out the door? And how did they charge? Walk into Costco. How did they do that? How does Disneyland do all the things that they do? And I study them, and I love learning about businesses. And you want to start a small business. Great. Start a small business, but then think, hey, we can make this bigger. And you can go out there and make it big. So I don't care if it's a job or a small business. Your job is to think big. What else can I do? And there's a wonderful book out there that's called The Magic of Thinking Big that I highly, highly recommend that you read. Number two, sell what people will buy. Here's what I know is that I don't know. I'm a man, I'm going to admit it. I know that I don't know, but I know how to ask and I know how to do research. And so the first thing is find out what people are hungry for. Warren Buffett, when he was just a kid, collected bottle caps of all these different soda drinks because we used to have it in a bottle, believe it or not, and you'd pop it off with an opener and they would usually dispense them into the machine. And then they would empty them all out. Anyway, he went around there and collected them all, and he found out that Coca-Cola outsold everybody else by a massive amount. So guess what? He started buying Coca-Cola. He was interested in Coca-Cola. He went to his grandfather and says, can I buy a 6-pack of Coke? And he bought them for 25 cents. And then he would go around the neighborhood and sell them for a nickel each. So he bought it for 25 cents, sold it for 30 cents, and he made a 20% profit. Now he's added billions of dollars to that in zero, zero, zeros. Okay, now, next one is focus, focus, focus. Don't run around and don't get so confused with all the phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, phase 5. Get phase 1 to work. The successful people have figured out how to simplify and then multiply. How do you simplify a system and then how do you multiply it? The simpler the system, the better it is. So we want to focus on phase 1. Once we get phase 1 done, we'll work on phase 2 and phase 3. But don't be looking at phase 3 and 4 until you can simplify the heck out of phase 1. Suggestive selling, you ever been through the drive-through and they say, would you like fries with that? Yeah. Well, you can only see either yes or no. And if you don't ask, the answer is no. If you do ask, it is a possibility of a yes. So I always ask. It's a game for me. I don't care. If they say no, I'm in the same position. If they say yes, and they do about a third of the time, then I get free stuff, and it's kind of fun. So use suggestive selling. Keep your personal money and business money separated. We've talked about that. Step number 5, which is to spend sparingly. You keep that away from your number 4, which is your investment accounts. You throw money into your investment accounts, and then you let that baby run. And we don't commingle them. We don't mix them. We have separate accounts for each of them. Pay yourself a livable wage. Sometimes that's difficult to do as you're building a business. You can do very well with your businesses. Keep good records. In America, the Internal Revenue Service, you're guilty until you prove you're innocent. So keep paper records and make sure that and mostly it's because you can tell. Math doesn't lie. And so we want to be able to keep good records so we can see what works and what doesn't work. And it's a mathematical decision. I don't like to make emotional decisions. I like to make math decisions. I know that This number is more than this number, so I do more of that. So that's why you keep good records. Turn your inventory often. A lot of people buy so much stuff and it just sits on the shelf. We want to simplify. When McDonald's got started, the McDonald brothers, they were selling all kinds of stuff. And they found out that the top sellers was hamburgers, fries, drinks, and floats and shakes. And they said, why don't we just get rid of all the stuff that doesn't work? We don't want to do plates and silverware and utensils and bar hops, gals taking out the food and everything, which was the way it was done back then. And they threw all that stuff away and designed a very simple system, and they did it very fast and very economical. So they turn their inventory very, very fast. And so that's what they do. Don't eat your inventory. That's a big number. A lot of people come in and they eat all their inventory and then they don't have anything to sell. Look for ways to improve your business. Look for ways to improve your job. And your job is to become valuable. Your job is to solve problems. If you solve big problems, you'll make more money. If you don't solve problems, you won't. The guys who make the most money are the ones who solve the biggest problems. Your job is to go solve problems, and then your boss will give you a raise. If he doesn't give you a raise, you already know how to solve a problem for somebody else, and his competitor sure will. Okay? So that's why we want to look for improvements, and improvements make a huge difference in costs and profitability. Buy low, sell high. Very simple. We got to buy it at a lower price, and we need to sell at a higher price. We need to mail profit. Inspect more, assume less. That's a good number. You need to verify things. You need to understand really what's in them and assume stuff. Be nice. Absolutely. That's a great thing. Be nice to people. Karma is real. So be aware of that. Work on your business like a dog, 10 hours a day, 12 hours a day. It's a challenge to get this thing off the ground. It's like an airplane. And an airplane, when it gets started, it gives it everything it's got to get off the ground, because once it gets off the ground, it can do very well. A spacecraft, once it takes off, uses all of its energy just to get out of the pull of gravity. Once it gets into space, they say that a breath of a baby can make it go forward. Okay, so you got to work really hard on it. Make a profit every day. Simplify your world and say, what do I have to do to make a profit today? How much do I need to sell? How much do I need to buy? What do I need to do? How many hours do I need to work? And then do that, and then work another couple of them so that you can put that extra money into your long-term save and invest. Value your customer. Your customer is your customer. Now, your customer is not always right, but your customer is always your customer. And if you want to make money, you need to have your customer happy with you. So that's a big part. So you need to value your customer. Hire slow and fire fast. Your job is to find out what problems are in the business, figure out how to solve those problems, find people to solve those problems, put the right people together, and then get out of the way and go put a different hat on. Build an organizational chart. A great book by Michael Gerber called The E-Myth, or Entrepreneurial Myth. I worked with Michael for many years. He tutored me personally as I was running. I was in my 20s when I was running we were doing $30 million in sales. We grew up from $7 million to $36 million. And I'm a 28-year-old kid running this behemoth, and he taught me about that. So hire slow and fire fast. Work on your business, not just work on your business, not in it. So many people are working in their business, and they could go work for somebody else and work 9 to 5. So when you're doing it, you've got to work on your business. You've got to put people in the right place. You got to teach them how to do things. So you got to work on your business, not just in your business. Okay, buy on credit, sell on cash. Cash flow is king. If you got extra cash to buy things, you can buy them at a much lower price. So we usually want to do that. Debt. I don't recommend debt if you can stay away from it. And the real question is, can I make a profit on this? Every time you're buying something, you say, can I make a profit on this? When I'm going to school, is 4 years of school worth it? Can I make more money? And only I'm going to buy a car. Why? Will it make me more money? Yes or no? If it makes you more money, do it. If it doesn't, well, no. I'm going to school. I'm going to learn how to be a music teacher. Will it make me enough money to pay for the bills? No. What's crazy, you've got people that got $100,000 worth of school debt teaching piano lessons. That math is never going to be on your side there. So the same thing as buying credit, sell for cash. Basically, it's okay to borrow and go into debt, but only if you can make money doing it and quickly. Use multiple suppliers to get the best price. You want to be able to go out there and find the best price on different products, and usually you've got to hunt and talk to different people. Purchase in bulk. That's a big one. If you can purchase in bulk, that's what Buffett did. He purchased a 6-pack of Coke and then sold them individually. Have written agreements? Definitely. My daddy used to teach me, says that the contract is only as good as the guy who wrote it. So be careful with that. Always have written agreements so that you understand whichever you fit into. Increase sales, decrease costs to earn more money. So that's basically what you got to do. Top line revenue on an income statement. This is your sales. I got to reduce our expenses and get a higher net. Daily and weekly business goals. You need to look at what you're doing on a daily basis. Break down a month into a week. Break a week down into a day, and figure out what you got to do every day to be able to do that. Make your business different from others. Find out what they're doing. And the biggest thing is add more value. The way you make a difference is to add more value. You need to be more valuable than the other guy. And if you're more valuable, then you'll get more business than the other guy. Okay, so that's the big piece right there. Now I'm going to go into the next section, which is to, now that you've gone through these basic pieces, we want to help you get you an investment account open. And there's some tutorials on actually how you go through and open up a Coinbase account or different accounts that we want to be able to put online for you to be able to go through to understand how to do it. And it's not scary. It's just kind of a hassle sometimes to do. But you've got to do it. And so we're going to teach you about how to fill out the forms in the next section. This is Tom Painter. Thank you so much for watching. This is the Success and Money Foundation, and specifically the Earn While You Learn. And our goal is to get you up and running, and most importantly is to get you an investment account. And then your goal is to put money in every month, because that's part of the wealth formula. This is Tom Painter. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next class.